Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the inaugural episode of Spudventures, our somewhat weekly real play RPG podcast. We'll see how that goes. I'm Newbiespud, and tonight I will be your GM for the first session of a 3-part campaign in a custom modified version of Fate Core. Joining me is Xencarn.
Hi.
AvisEcho.
Hey!
Winged Cat.
Yo!
And GreatDinn.
Catchphrase!
Thank you all for joining me. I am very excited to be doing this again. I would have said super excited, but that might have been a little on the nose. And crickets this time. Okay.
Well, I don't feel like I could logically go into the joke again, Spud.
This is our second take. Sorry, everybody. Well, if you'll indulge me, let me read some box text to sort of set up the cinematic universe. In a world not unlike our own, cinematic universes are all the rage. The reigning champion is, of course, Marvel Studios. Others have tried with considerably less success. DC Comics, Universal Studios. Remember the Dark Universe? Neither do I. But in this alternate world of fantasy and unrealism, a new contender has actually managed to stick the landing. A modestly sized group called Spud Productions. So far, they have made 4 movies, each about an individual superhero, and the anticipated Avengers-style crossover movie is about to hit the silver screen. Leaked documents have revealed that internally the executives call this CU the World of Modern Myth, which is not the best name. Instead, everyone calls it the Spud Cinematic Universe, partially because of the production house, and partially because Robert Downey Jr. said at a convention one time, quote, "Spud CU is appropriate now, that's what I call it. It's the baby version. It's the little cinematic universe that could." So now everyone calls it that. For those who haven't watched the previous 4 imaginary films, a summary. Xencarn, would you start with yours?
Course. So, my film is, if you'd like to introduce it real quick, why I flicked over to a thing.
It is called Arachne, Spinning the Web.
Thank you. So Arachne Spinning the Web is about Vanessa Webb, who is the reincarnation of the Greek myth of Arachne. For those of you who don't know, Arachne's story, to simplify it, is about a very egotistical woman who challenged one of the gods to a weaving contest, lost, hung herself, and was then turned into a spider.
In some interpretations.
Yeah, in some interpretations anyway. Well, that's the story I know, at least. So, yeah, this is so Vanessa, reincarnated from that, can essentially turn into a Drider. Her husband was killed, and she uses her powers to stalk criminals through the night, hunting down information brokers to find out exactly why her husband was murdered.
All right. Your movie was a breakout success and scored an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics said the plot was a little simplistic, but the actress was charming, and the scenes of using illusions and Drider stalking to make confident, burly men with guns utterly freak out was something that audiences didn't know they wanted.
But I did, and that's why I gave it to them.
All right, the second film in our lineup in the Spud CU was Chromice. Avis, if you would give us the rundown.
So Chromice was the tale of Dr. Nathaniel Chromice, who is actually a mouse. He is part of a lab experiment involving the implementation of intelligent animals and robotic augmentations and drones. During the film, there is a escape and explosions. Nathaniel is able to manually use one of the drones to
It's all
take
right.
down one of the animals that stayed behind to cause some mayhem, while the rest were out into the wild with their drones.
All right, and audiences absolutely loved Chromice. They thought the CGI was spectacular, and, you know, who's going to turn down a chance to watch a mouse pilot a goddamn mech against other critters piloting goddamn mechs? Like Transformers, but cute and lighthearted instead of cynical and ugly. It scored an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
and more tasteful explosions.
The third film was called Dex Deal, which stars Winged Cat's character.
Okay, so we start out with Edward Hoyle, direct descendant of Edmund Hoyle, who literally wrote the book on poker and a bunch of other card games. Edward tries to live up to his, as he puts it, great to the eighth. He's an MIT grad, PhD in math, and uses that to be a Las Vegas card shark. The movie starts with him going casino to casino, playing each just enough to get away before they get suspicious. Except for one casino, there's more on the ball than he thinks. There's a fight, short version, he breaks into a back room with the magic artifact Road of Fortuna, the ancient Wheel of Fortune that the game show's named for. He winds up with the ability to telekinetically control paper, which he uses on cards. The cops don't believe him when he says he ran into criminals, except for one FBI agent who mentors him, walking him through fighting neighborhood crimes to build his confidence and help him think of himself as a hero, so he'll use his power responsibly. They've read Spider-Man. Eventually, the agent and Edward confront the mobster who has the artifact. They're outnumbered and overwhelmed until the cops finally show up as cavalry, but mainly the cops just bring some Dex for Deck, as he now calls himself, to, well, see the clips on YouTube. At the end of it, the FBI agent says that Dex should probably lay low and sends him vacationing, place to place that just happens to have other places in need of superheroes. He also reads Tarot and is generally up on the history of playing cards.
Okay. Let's see, and... yeah, Chromice was a tough act to follow, and people kind of noticed that there were a lot of plot elements that are more there to set up the cinematic universe stuff than to actually play into Deck's story. But, you know, knocking over a casino is fun, and the cartokinesis in the film used a lot of practical effects with real cards, which was pretty impressive. Scored a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, the film crew thought the inclusion of, like, the history of Tarot and stuff would be geek appeal, maybe not mainstream, but they wanted to try something, setting up for Gawain.
Right, and yeah, so the final, most recent film before the big crossover was Gawain. That's you, GreatDinn.
Yes, so Gawain is the story of the Arthurian knight, Gawain, as his brother Mordred, and the Green Knight from Gawain's legends are flung into the modern day after a confrontation at Stonehenge while searching for the Holy Grail. Gawain ends up sort of in a fish-out-of-water situation and is dealing with the fact that he is being stalked by the Green Knight while also trying to find his brother so they can get back to their time. Unfortunately for Gawain, he is not adapted to the modern world nearly as well as Mordred ended up doing, and Mordred found out about the tales of King Arthur, and specifically his betrayal, and decided, I think I'm better off here, starting my own Camelot. And so Mordred took control of the Green Knight and gave Gawain an opportunity to go back, but Gawain refused to go back without him, and so the two ended up fighting, and Gawain managed to successfully slay the Green Knight, but Mordred escaped in the confusion. And so now he is working with FBI agent Marion Cross to find his brother and potentially right other wrongs in this modern day that has lost a lot of the sense of chivalry that he knows.
All right. Simply put, you cast an absolutely stunning, charming man with an incredible physique to play Sir Gawain. Everything else, the sword fighting, the reverse fish-out-of-water scenario, that's all secondary to how much of a chivalrous hunk Gawain looks on screen doing his own stunts. And Mordred's no Tom Hiddleston, but even he's got a few fans. Just overall strong performance by a hard-working cast, 77%.
He was very nice looking.
For a genre film, pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's really strong, actually. So now we're finally at the fifth film of the Spud cinematic universe, the crossover movie titled World of Lightning. Which brings us to how we're playing Fate today and how the movie angle factors in. The five of us are role-playing the characters in-universe, in the story, as it appears in the theaters and later on Blu-ray or Netflix. But all of your skills on your character sheets pertain to the challenges of film production behind the scenes. Acting, CGI, choreography, connections, engineering, fan service, funding, location, physique, props, script, stunt work, research, training, wardrobe, and will. Don't think too hard about the actual people and events on the set itself. We're not concerned about that. Roleplay your characters as your characters, but when it comes time to overcome obstacles, use acting instead of diplomacy, use stunt work instead of athletics, that sort of thing. And keep in mind you don't just have physical and mental stress to worry about in terms of health, you've also got funding stress. If you try to do too many things that are very expensive to produce, you may end up taking budget stress, which is tied to your funding skill. Any questions about that?
Seemed perfectly cromulent to me.
It's kind of a high concept idea, but this is the mod I've made to Fate, which was to basically change the original skill set. So yeah, I think that about covers it. That covers the Spud Cinematic Universe. It covers the 4 films that each of your characters solo starred in. And now it's time to start the 5th film, The World of Lightning. The first scene of The World of Lightning opens in vast desert. A subtitle comes up saying Northern Arizona Private Airfield. There is a long runway. There's gates sort of surrounding the airfield, and it's just miles of desert in all directions. There's a big hangar. There is a tower where flight controller is stationed, and Deck and your FBI contact, Agent Ramirez. You are standing in front of the hangar, thankfully in the shade of it. And near you is a big crate where the Rote Fortune has been sealed up.
All right, so where's this thing going?
Ramirez looks to you and says, well, we did all the paperwork on it, and what the government wants to do is hand it over to the DoD, the Pentagon. So they're going to touch down, we're going to load it up, and then they're going to fly off to put it in a vault somewhere.
I think I've seen a movie about that.
He kind of gives you a weird look and says, really, what movie?
Just somewhere the powerful artifact got sealed in a warehouse to be forgotten forever.
Okay, there's a lot of movies like that, but this is the first time we've come across magical artifacts. We don't really have a system other than lock it away with all the other experimental weapons.
Like I said, sometimes truth is just as strange as fiction.
Yeah, always with your quotes. I asked one of my other colleagues to come join us today. Someone else who might have connections to some of these myths.
Oh, yeah? Who?
Cut to the gate near the air control tower opening up, and a black van driving up the considerable length up to the hangar. And from that van out steps Agent Mariah Cook and Sir Gawain.
Alrighty. Gawain is actually not in his armor. He is actually in a long sleeve black shirt and jeans. He is not looking terribly comfortable in them. But he has been told that this is how people normally dress, and that armor would probably be really bad in the desert.
I'm not sure a long black shirt would be much better either.
Yeah, but plate armor is a real bad idea.
True.
He doesn't feel comfortable unless he's mostly covered.
That makes sense.
But he actually still.
I wonder if with with the jeans, he like has kind of a gait to him as he walks up to the hangar.
But he is still he does still have like in one of his hands Galatine sheathed. So he is still this sort of normal looking man, but holding a very large sword.
Is there anything else special about the sword other than how large it is?
Despite the fact that it looks ancient, it is, even within the sheath, there seems to be just sort of this like light emanating from it. It is positively gleaming.
All right then.
And that might have more to do with the fact that it's, the desert and the sun is pretty high up right now.
All right. Generally, the four of you, the two FBI agents and Deck and Gawain, have been at least semi-briefed on each other and your respective adventures. And so Cook just kind of walks up and gives Hoyle and kind of raised eyebrow look and says, "So this is your card shark guy, huh?" And Ramirez looks up at Gawain's face and says, "Huh, yeah, that tracks."
Gawain stretches out a hand and goes, "Hail and well met."
Deck shakes that hand, with his other hand tips his hat. Hail. And then from his back, a whole bunch of cards, full Major Tarot, spring up. He raises his hand, three of them fly down. He looks at them. Huh. Hanged Man, Chariot, Tower. You are not a lazy man. He then tosses them back up. The cards fly around, fly back into his pocket.
Gawain actually turns to Marion at this point and says, "You did not inform me there were still wizards in your time."
Just let's backtrack a little bit. If I could ask you, Winged Cat, to make me a props roll.
Okay, so that's prop skill plus 40F.
Yeah, plus 4. Yeah. No, sorry. In rolls.org, the dice room we're using, the code for Fate's Fudge Dice is 4U1. And that's just beyond spectacular. So you accomplish that with style. The cards fly around exactly as you described, without using much in the way of like special effects. It's all just somehow physical props and, cards on a very simple but elaborate, puppet system.
Cards on wires, and the wires don't show up on the camera.
Yeah, or it's just very easy to get the wires out of, edited out of the shot. So yeah, anyway, back to Gawain saying, "What? Wizards how?" And, Agent Cook just looks back at Gawain and says, that's a new one on me too.
Fascinating. Truly, there is still much about this world that I need to learn.
It's a modern form of magic. Don't let it worry you. It's not dark magic.
Gawain looked a little puzzled at that and just goes, "I am familiar with Merlin's magic. I understand that not all magic is dark and evil."
Merlin, so you're familiar with the Arthurian mythos then?
Gawain actually looks a little sort of embarrassed by that statement, and he goes, "Yes, I am Sir Gawain, a knight of Arthur's court."
Well, let's just say this postdates Arthur by quite a bit.
I am aware. I am still catching up to many things, but I am fully cognizant of the fact that I am not in my home.
Ramirez just kind of... The FBI agents just watch the two of you interact and just kind of give each other a look like, how did we end up with these guys?
Gawain is going to awkwardly cough because he isn't 100% certain how to deal with this, and goes, so the Rote Fortune, correct? That is what we are dealing with?
Agent Ramirez glances back at the crate, which is locked up with a chain and whatnot, and says, yeah, this casino owner inexplicably had this, was using it for weird experiments and to, well, obviously rig the luck in his casino. It was a long, weird day. But now it's going to be in the hands of the United States government, so maybe our fortunes will finally turn around. There's a squawking on... sorry.
I was going to say, Gawain crosses his arms and nods as if he understood most of that sentence.
just kind of nodding a little bit excessively.
A little bit. It's still a lot of, proper nouns to get used to for him.
There's a walkie-talkie at Agent Ramirez's hip, and it starts to squawk at him, and he listens to it, and there's a message saying that the DoD plane is about to arrive, and in the distance there you can hear the loud roar of the engines as this moderately sized cargo plane starts to come in for a descent towards the runway. And then the sky is a clear blue, not a cloud in the sky, but there is a crack as a flash of lightning seems to strike the plane, causing smoke to trail behind it as it wobbles on its way down to the runway.
Upon seeing that, Gawain is going to draw his sword and be ready, because that seems like a bad sign.
Deck just looks up. Most unfortunate.
Agent Ramirez shoots Deck a dirty look and says, not now. There's another flash of light, this time atop the air control tower, and there's this huge burst of electricity and light, and whoever was there is probably not doing so well. The plane continues to sway back and forth, and somehow barely manages to land with its landing gears out, but kind of turns and skids and tips to one side, and its wing drags along the runway, just shearing as it goes along, bits of burning metal flying behind it.
I don't know if Gawain's strong enough to try and stop a plane.
That would be maybe a little extreme.
A little bit. I guess he's just gonna try and stay out of the way and just be ready to get in that thing and help whoever's dealing with the wreckage.
The plane eventually skids to a stop. It kind of drifted and spun off the runway and off to the opposite side from the hangar. So you guys weren't in the path of danger, but immediately Cook and Ramirez are heading to their car to kind of catch up with it and see if anyone needs help. Do you follow them?
Gawain is 100% going to follow them.
And Deck's right behind Gawain.
All right, so you all load up into the black van, or you start loading up, and then you hear a metal crash as what can only be described as golden flatbed trucks crash through the fenced-off gate to the airfield. 2 of them, which drive straight for the plane.
Okay. How far away from us is this plane specifically?
Suppose there's like an uneven triangle where you standing at the hangar is one point. These trucks are at a fairly long distance away, and a short way across from you is the wreckage of the plane. And that distance is about probably probably a football field's length.
I think Gawain's gonna run that rather than get in the car.
Well, more like 2 now that I think about it. But yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say if
it's a short drive.
If it's 100 yards, I was like, I think Gawain can just run that.
Yeah, it's like a little more than 200 yards.
Okay. Then yeah, I still think Gawain's getting in the car to like get out there just to be able to fend off whatever is happening.
Hey, Ramirez, so the rota's in this warehouse. We leaving someone to guard it?
He's about to climb into the passenger side of the car and says, crap. You guys go deal with the plane. I'll make sure to secure the crate. Go, go, go.
Goal hops in the car, giving him a quick salute.
So Agent Cook, once everyone, like not even waiting for everybody to be buckled in, just slams the accelerator and tears off after the plane wreckage.
Actually, I think Duck's the only one in the car with her. If Gawain's running for it and Ramirez is guarding.
No.
Well, no. If it's 2 football fields, I think that's far enough away that the car would be faster. So
yeah. So the 2 you're both in the car as she peels off, and you drive across the runway and then onto more tarmac, which eventually gives way to just sand and dry grass, which becomes a bit bumpy, and then she kind of has to swerve around some of the sharper burning pieces of metal debris, but you manage to reach the plane first, but the gold-painted trucks aren't far behind, which stop about 20 yards away from where you guys stop, and these guys in suits and bulletproof vests kind of climb out, some with guns, some with like batons.
All right, Gawain is going to actually step out of the car, sword drawn, and just get into a battle stance and goes, "Face me, brigands! I'm Sir Gawain, and I will be your opponent."
And shortly thereafter, a shield wall of cards sets up between Gawain and the bad guys.
There's about 8 guys total that are standing about 20 yards from you. And they all kind of look at each other. 2 of them, the drivers, appear to be a little more in charge. The other 6 look towards them. And they kind of look at each other with a bit of confusion, like, what? Who are these guys? But they eventually, one of them shouts something at the rest, which is a little hard to hear over the sound of burning. And 6 of them come charging with batons and clubs, while the 2 of them in the back raise up a couple of Glocks.
How good are you with that sword?
Gawain smiles and goes, "An equal to Lancelot. My only better is King Arthur."
Then you can take all 6 of the guys with clubs?
And Gawain just smiles and goes, "It will be a as you say, cakewalk."
Then I got the guns. With that, the shield wall raises up and arches over the incoming club guys towards the guys with clocks.
He does what on the shield wall?
So he had the shield wall up to protect, and he's just, okay, the guys with clubs, they get Gawain. I get the 2 guys with guns because there's a real threat in my eyes.
Yes. So what do you do with, does the shield wall move? Like,
It raises up, lets the guys with clubs in, and arcs over and heads towards the guys with guns. Probably slow enough that the guys with guns can have time to react.
alright. Let's see. That many cards altogether, kind of moving seemingly independently.
Well, no, they can move in unison. They can move as a group.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but make me another props check. All right, that was more difficult, but you rolled all pluses on that.
Maximum plus, yes.
So you're like, you succeed with style. So your like shield wall of cards, not just like, flies up and over the charging guys and past them, but like in the spectacular flurry of spinning cards. That's very, I don't know, very supernatural looking.
And that's the intent, is to distract them, maybe get them to shoot the cards, which says, okay, it does nothing, you're shooting cards, and then for the cards to try to smack the guns out of their hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that what the guys with guns do is they just like go, what in the world, and shoot into the cards and, puncturing a couple of them, but it does nothing. Meanwhile, Wayne, it is your balls in your court to respond to the guys charging at you.
Let's see. There's 6 of them. Are they in any sort of formation?
They are all kind of coming towards you in a staggered line horizontally.
A staggered line horizontally. All right. I will lower sword and just charge, like, tackle into the first guy. Just shoulder, like, just deck him with my shoulder, and then then get into an actual, sword fight with these guys that have clubs.
Yeah. Make me a physique check, I think. Or, well, okay, in order to make sure that you don't, like, hurt the guys as you just crash into them with this, wall of meat that you are, make me a stunt work check.
A stunt work check? You got it.
Yeah, so that as you're crashing into them, you're not actually hurting the stunt actors who you are, crashing into.
Well, not awful.
That's a 5. Yeah, you succeed.
Yes. Man, I can tell you, if that had failed, you would there would have been a mistake in it where you would see Gawain mouth sorry.
Yeah.
All right. And then once that first guy is sort of knocked down, it's sword up, catch whatever club is attempting to hit me at this point.
All right. So I'm going to say the next turn goes to Deck.
Are the gunners disarmed yet? If not,
they are not. There is just this cloud of cards, all this sort of very rapidly shifting mass flying towards them, and they are just like, they are panicking. But they are not disarmed yet.
Okay, try to pick up their guns without picking them up.
Just try to knock out and pick up the guns out of their hands.
Disarm them and get the guns away from them so that they are just dudes with no weapons.
That's going to be pretty interesting to make look decent. The props is the props are kind of covering for the cards action, so I want to say roll choreography so that it looks convincing that the cards knock the guns out of their hands.
Woof, a +0. All right.
Okay. That is... So you are drifting below the line by just one. So you can take
I mean, would training be usable?
you could take a point of funding stress to kind of throw more money at the problem. Your number one funding stress block.
Okay, so then this would be a +2?
No, this would just account for the drift. You were below the check level. You were one short.
Actually, I haven't even rolled it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant that your final result was 0.
No.
Okay.
My skill's 0. Okay, now my result's 0.
Okay, so
Now I have rolled it and I rolled a 0.
Wow.
Okay, so first block of funding stress. Done.
Okay. All right, so you managed to make... I swear I'm not a precog. You managed to make knocking the guns out of their hands with the cards look pretty convincing by throwing in just a little bit of special effects in there in post. And now they are disarmed and their guns are covered in cards that are just kind of dragging them away. And yeah, some poor editor had to do a little bit of like creative cutting to make it look right.
We got the job done.
Yep.
That's probably all that can do this turn, and back to Gawain then.
So you've just disarmed them, right?
Yeah, I've just disarmed them, taken their weapons away.
All right. They draw out knives and start trying to cut away at the cards. And
the cards take the guns away and lead them towards the guy with a sword. Sure, they can take a knife to a sword fight.
No. They just like at the cloud of cards in front of them. They just try to start cutting away.
The cloud of cards tries to lure them towards Gawain.
I'm gonna say they're not gonna follow. If they end up dragging the guns away, they're just gonna head back towards the cars, and that'll be their remaining action.
Right. And Deck has some plans for that, but that's next turn.
All right. So, Gawain, you are surrounded by these guys who all have batons and clubs. They attack you, and all I'm really going to ask you is to make a choreography roll to defend.
I have an important question here, Spud.
Yes?
Would you say that this Arizona place is extremely well lit?
Under the bright desert sun, yes.
Excellent. In that case, my beneficial lighting special triggered, and my choreography gets a +5, or gets +2. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now it is 5 altogether.
Yeah.
Not +5. That would be a little ridiculous. Woof! Looks like I needed it.
Oh boy. You are gonna be one short because there's 6 guys.
Oh, even the guy I tackled?
Oh. No, you're right. That guy just went you basically bowled him over like he went over your shoulder end over end, and he's still on the ground. So yeah, I'm gonna say 5 just manages to tie, which actually I think you get what you want, but at a minor cost. So I'm gonna say that you don't manage to knock any of them out. You just manage to,
Fend them off.
fend them off, block, counter, parry, deflect, that sort of thing.
It looks great, but I mean, you can't just like end the fight in one blow. You gotta pad it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Deck, you are up.
Okay, is the FBI agent still nearby? Or has she scooted off into the plane yet?
She has exited the vehicle, and since you guys have kind of got that under control, she is heading towards the wreckage, both to protect anyone who might be still there and, try and rescue them from the crash and fire.
All right. Deck has the cards, drop the guns towards him, pointed away or with safeties on if he can. If not, then there's a scene of them dropping a card, him catching, and zoom in on the safety as he thumbs the safety on most prominently, before sending the cards back to the back to the trucks to try to slash their tires.
So you're trying to enable the safeties on the guns before releasing them from the card cloud.
And or enable the safeties on the guns as he catches them. The intent is to get the guns out of play.
Okay, so the card cloud circles back towards you over the heads of the fighters, drops the guns into your hands, you turn on the safeties, and then the card cloud goes back towards the cars to slash their tires.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. You kind of talked a little fast, so it was a little hard to track like all the steps you were trying to lay out.
Gold does sometimes do slightly complex plans. Or sorry, Deck sometimes does complex plans, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you get as far as catching the guns out of midair in that sort of time block.
Okay.
The goons take another swing at Gawain. I'm gonna make my own roll. Just go off of that. Yeah, they are probably not going to get too many hits in. Din, make a roll of your choice to try and it's your move.
I think I'd like to take one of the blows from these guys, just so that like he's within reach, so I can grab an arm and just like pull him in and headbutt him.
Actually, what I actually should be doing is based off of that roll. Skills average. I'm gonna say they took a point of stress because they couldn't quite fight effectively against you.
Yeah.
So you just kind of knock out one of them while they were attacking you. So there's 4 left. And then you want to basically catch one of the blows and then headbutt a guy, right?
Yeah, basically like the club hits my back or whatever. Gawain turns around in his free hand, grabs the guy's arm, just drags him close, and skulls meat.
So yeah, to just completely no-sell the blow to your, unarmored back, roll me physique.
You got it. 4.
That is... That's actually 1 below where I set you at for that.
All right. So, physical stress?
Yeah, one point of physical stress.
Alrighty. We'll go ahead and take that then.
But then the rest of your action goes,
According to Keikaku?
yeah, according to plan.
Alrighty.
And you take down another goon, leaving 3.
Sweet.
Deck. How can a card slash tires?
Sharpened edges.
Right. Paper. Sharpened edges.
Yes. Compressed paper. Compressed to a very sharp and thin edge.
All right.
Slash or metal lines, as long as he's controlling the bulk of the card.
True, which makes that heavier. I mean, also, it's a movie. It can afford to play fast and loose with the laws of physics. So I'm going to say... I don't want to make you roll props because that's your best skill. No, I'm going to make you roll props, but you need a pretty spectacular result. Alternatively, you can roll... oh, you already did that. Okay.
6.
6. Do.
I mean, yeah, it's his best skill. This is the main thing he does, is use cards for things.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to look through... Ah, there it is.
Or if you want, he can use training to reflect.
There, so you got a fantastic result. So yeah, I'm gonna say you managed to between the cards and maybe something set up inside the tires, like Escape suggested there in the chat. You managed to make it look like the cards are slashing them open as they fly by.
Mm-hmm. Which means, hopefully, that they can't just drive the trucks up to the plane anymore.
That is true. You managed to get, like, a corner tire on each side. And you hear one of them, curse rather loudly. Or at least it's kind of like very far away. You can just hear him shout something very terse. And one of them reaches into the flatbed of the truck and pulls out an RPG launcher.
Oh boy.
And that's going to be their action. So the goons... there's like a moment of standoff. The 3 of them kind of surrounding Gawain in a triangle. One of them kind of, his eyes go wide as he notices his boss pulling out the grenade launcher, and everyone kind of turns to look, and the remaining 3 of them just kind of like dive away, just like get out of the way as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And Gawain, what are you gonna do?
Let's see. The enemies have dived away. I need to determine whether or not Gawain thinks he clearly saw them look.
Yeah,
does Deck have time to shout a warning?
I don't think he knows what an RPG is. So I think he's going to stand his ground. And he's going to have the sword just, firm stance, sword planted right in front of him, blade forward. And I think he's probably gonna try and cut it in half when it gets launched at him.
Oh goodness.
Cut
to Agent Miriam Cook climbing out of the wreckage with a survivor slumped over her shoulder, and she spots this scene and she goes, "Gawain, no!" Deck?
Shield wall right in front of the RPG launcher. If it fires, it detonates in the barrel.
Just like packing all the cards as tightly as possible in front of him.
Basically, yeah. Enough to at least trigger the explosive if they fire it.
Let's see. This scene can change pretty drastically depending on how this goes, so roll me script. How much can you decide how this scene goes right here? Oh.
Oh boy.
A 3. Well, fortunately, script was my second highest attribute.
Yeah, that could have turned out a lot worse. I'm gonna say you are down by 1, and I would let you take a point of mental stress for this one.
That's exactly what I was about to suggest. Mental stress it is.
All right. So what happens is that the cards you just kind of, okay, so there's this whole like slow-mo heartbeat shot, sweat beating down your brow as you gesture, and all the cards just rush towards the guy with the rocket launcher. And he panics. His finger was about to pull the trigger on the grenade, on the RPG launcher, but they rush towards him, not just getting in front of the launcher, but in front of his face. And he kind of flails and kind of falls backward, but because of poor trigger discipline, he pulls the trigger as his arm flails to the side, and the rocket fires off, clipping the hangar and exploding.
So it does manage to get past the cards.
Because of the way, in kind of the split second of all of that going on, you couldn't like make a wall thick enough. Like you need like, oh goodness, how many cards? Like at least 20?
They're designed to puncture tanks in many cases. Like,
was it thick enough to at least bat the thing aside to cause it to clip the hanger instead of us?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like not only
that'll do.
Yeah, not only did you like make the guy's arm flail and points completely away from you guys, but like as it left the barrel, it kind of, all the cards pushed against it kind of wobbled its flight path. Like it was a little it was a little dubious that cards were going to be able to completely stop a weapon designed to penetrate with extreme force, but yeah, you definitely pushed his shot away.
It doesn't matter that it explodes, so long as it explodes where nothing of importance is. That said, how much damage is there to the hangar?
The rocket impacted kind of like right at the corner of the hangar door, and kind of bathing the front of it on one side with smoke and fire.
So Ramirez is probably not in danger.
It's questionable whether he's in danger or not, but you can't see due to the smoke.
Right. Anyway, Deck relaxes his focus, assuming that the guy with the RPG is not about to fire again. Gawain, get him!
Yeah, Gawain is booking it to that car.
All right. I'm going to say you can just do that. The gunners are disarmed, and there's not enough time to reload the RPG or anything. So I'm going to say Gawain crosses that distance. Agent Cook comes out of the plane and draws her gun and says, "Everybody, stay down on the ground who can still stand." And
Deck belatedly picks up the two guns from the gunners, and guns akimbo, with nobody noticing. He hopes that the safeties are still on. Waves them generally in the direction of the goons on the ground.
that helps pacify them. One of the drivers, the one who wasn't pulling out a rocket launcher, gets into the driver's seat and tries to drive away with one of his tires slashed. You just kind of like going forward and turning the wheel left as far as it can to kind of make a U-turn.
Can I get to that car?
I'm going to say you can. What do you do when you get there?
I'd kind of like to jump onto the front and plant Galatine just directly into the engine.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I like it. For that, I'm going to say... Man, what would be good there? Yeah,
For the record, Gawain doesn't know he's stopping the car this way. He's thinking that's how he's gonna stay on it as it drives off.
I'm gonna say stunt work for that leap.
Stunt work, got it. Stunts. Ooh, not good enough.
Oh goodness,
that was a bad roll.
Well. Thankfully, it wasn't that difficult because he was just starting to rev up his wheels and he was kicking up a lot of dirt. So he wasn't moving very far or fast yet, nor turned at an awkward angle. So you're able to just leap up and stab your sword down.
Well, success?
There's a bit of a comical moment as you're jamming the sword in to try and tame the beast or whatever, but the cars just stop moving and he's just kind of staring at you wide-eyed what the who is this crazy man?
And once the beast has been tamed, sword pulled out and pointed directly at the guy driving this truck,
and he slowly raises his hands.
Sword dripping gasoline, perhaps?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Probably dripping a lot of things.
Lots of vital car fluids.
And flames licking in the background.
Yeah, basically.
And with that one pacified, stand up, point the sword at the other guy.
He just gets down on the ground and holds his hand over over his back of his head. So cut forward a bit. You all kind of gather up the the bad guys towards the hangar, which is still smoldering. Ramirez has his face looks kind of charred, and he's kind of limping a bit, but he seems okay. He's kind of holding himself up with the crate for support. He kind of gets off his walkie-talkie and says, "All right, backup's on the way. Just gotta keep these guys. I gotta keep these guys here for a while, and he shakes his head and says, "What in the world?" He
Gotta get a medic looking at you.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. But also maybe check on the air controller up in the tower. Make sure he's okay. And Cook nods and gets back in the car to drive up over to the tower. Leaving the three of you with the 8 or so, some of which are unconscious, bad guys.
Gawain is trying to clean off the remnants of the car beast from Galatine. And he turns to Agent Ramirez and goes, "Is the item okay?"
He kind of pats the crate a bit. They probably got rattled a bit, but still secure.
Gawain actually looks over to the newfound magician in deck, to the plane that was, mysteriously struck by lightning, and then back to Ramirez and goes, "Are you certain it's still in there?"
Dex, recalling his cards at this point, just, yeah, probably good thing if we checked.
He nods and says, "All right, yeah, that's probably a good idea." And he fishes for a key to the locked crate.
Dex starts looking for zip ties to make sure none of the crooks can try anything funny when the crate is open.
I'm gonna say, yeah, they've already been zip tied.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Several survivors from the plane have also been brought to the hangar by Agent Cook. And they're all kind of like, trying to bandage up or, put pressure on wounds or, try and get some water or towels or something. And let's see. Would one of you like to make a research check?
On the Road of Fortune?
Just in general.
Just in general? Okay.
Yeah, I should probably do it.
Yeah, you're probably better at it. If it was the Road of Fortune, I might be able to argue it's Arthurian myth kind of stuff, but...
Well, it's also directly Deck, and Deck's got the better research anyway.
Yeah.
Got it too.
All right. Deck, you notice on the Road of Fortune is still in the crate, and you notice that all of the goons are kind of eyeing it. Like that was their objective all along, but they might not have known whether it was on the plane or not, or whether the plane was carrying any others. But you notice that all of the goons in their beneath their black gear and their vests, they have a little golden pin.
Any particular shape?
Yeah, it's a circular pin with a cloud and a lightning bolt striking down from it.
A symbol he's seen before?
No, this is entirely new to you. But every single one of them is wearing it.
Yeah, Rodriguez, check the pins. You seen them before?
Kind of. The guys look among themselves, and harden their faces as they realize that, this is when the interrogation's about to begin. And Ramirez steps up and takes, he just rips one of the pins off and looks at it in the sunlight. He says, "No, that's a new one on me. Any one of you boys want to explain this?" And all of them just stare straight ahead, scowling.
Who's the one that had the rocket launcher?
You spot him just he's kind of towards one end nearest the crate.
Gawain is going to sort of kneel down in front of him, and put the hilt of Galantine under the man's chin just to sort of force him to look at Gawain, and go, "You should answer, my friend. To whom does your heraldry belong?"
There's a couple of chuckles from the other guys as they hear you use the word heraldry with a straight face.
Well, I mean, I kicked their ass with a sword. I don't know what else they're expecting.
You just glare at them and they just kind of shut their mouths.
I don't even think he even registers the chuckles, honestly.
All right, then they laugh unpunished.
Yeah, I don't think it bothers him.
And the guy whose sword hilt is poking at his chin just kind of grimaces at you, gritting his teeth. He says, "It's not like you can stop us."
Trying to think if Gawain would say something badass here or something stupid.
It might be time for something maybe more badass.
I think it's
speaking as your executive producer here.
Probably, yeah. I think Gawain is going to simply stand up and go, "Well then, present your champion. I would love to beat them."
He chuckles and says, "Oh, soon you'll see our champion." And then there's a bit of an awkward silence as you all just kind of wait for him to elaborate.
Has this champion got a name or something?
Yeah. God.
Another god? Seriously?
The one true God.
Yeah, another one true god.
That actually piques Gawain's interest a lot. But I don't think he's going to say anything just yet. I think he's actually going to wait for this.
All right, and then Ramirez finally has enough. And he picks up another one, someone who maybe looks the scrawniest, and he picks him up by their scruff and says, "All right, that's it. Who are you? Who do you work for? And where can we find the rest?" And cut to this time a nighttime scene, exterior, night, subtitle, or, text scroll, Southern California. A very elaborate seaside estate, all white marble and angled roofs to catch and reflect the sun and welcome in the sea breeze. A very large compound with armed guards, patrolling the area. Vanessa Webb.
Hello.
Your contact, the person you know as the Fly, told you that his bosses have been operating out of this building for some time, and they recently say they captured someone of value, someone who was advancing their cause, the reason why your husband was murdered.
I see. Okay.
You stand outside The gate, the outermost gate to the complex. This sort of beachside home.
So gate, I'm assuming is the typical sort of see-through bar gate, or is it one of those big solid ones?
Like see-through iron wrought bars on that someone can press a button and they slowly part.
Right. Is there any intercom interface or anything?
Yeah, there's a little square, roundish intercom interface next to the gate.
Cool. I press that and wait.
There's a click, and then crackling over the signal says, "State your business."
Of course, darling. I'm here about some artwork your employer was here to buy off me. I should be expected, I believe.
1 second. I've got no record of that.
Odd. I'm sure I do.
We
Could you
don't
check again?
We don't deal in art here. Go away.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Go away, or we will use force.
Of course. Of course. I'm sure it's just a scheduling error. I'll come back at another time.
See that you do. You have 30 seconds to vacate the premises.
Of course. I'm going to start walking. So it's like, I'm assuming it's walled, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to start walking around the corner, and as I turn the corner, I'm going to start transforming.
All right. So that, why then and there, might I ask?
Because, transforming around the corner is always dramatic. And B, I'm going to want my spider form to climb the wall.
All right. Roll me a relevant skill for your transformation.
CGI?
Yep.
CGI is a 5. So that's just for you 1 plus 5?
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, I knew this was going to happen.
Hmm.
You die of a heart attack if not surprised.
It's dark. It's hard to make CGI look good in weirdly lit spots. Interesting point. I'm gonna say you won't take any stress if I compel your barely controlled transformation aspect.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
So you don't manage to turn into the full terrifying Drider. What happens instead is that sort of from your waist, another 4 pairs, 4 spider legs sort of sprout and start stabbing around.
Because that's not infinitely creepier.
And, your face sort of changes a bit. Your hands sort of, the nails lengthen and sharpen, but you don't turn into the full Drider.
Fair. Do I still have enough magic, I guess, to climb the wall?
Yes, you do.
Cool. In that case, I will do so.
All right, so you climb over the wall, and sort of perched in Well, okay. On top of the wall, it's a fairly tall concrete wall, and on the top there's some iron wrought spikes to prevent people from, climbing over so easily. But I imagine you can just kind of grip those and throw yourself over.
I would assume so.
Roll me stunt work.
Yay. Oh, shit, why are you lagging? Stunt work is 0. Yay. That solves that problem. Oh my god.
1.
Just kill me.
You do averagely. You manage to throw yourself over, but not without you don't make a clean landing. You're just kind of like, ugh.
Well, I am half transformed, to be fair.
Yeah. How's your wardrobe skill, by the way?
Oh, you just love me today, don't you, Spud? Also 0.
All right, because the actual reason behind the scenes for not your full transformation just yet is that they don't want to spend too much CGI on you for the first, part of the movie.
Reasonable.
So your half spider form is kind of costuming and makeup and that sort of thing. So with that impact of you falling, roll me wardrobe to see how it holds up.
God, why did you do this to me?
It's fine.
Woo!
But, it kind of suffers some damage, but it gets touched up between takes.
Cool.
Yay, I got to make you roll skills that you weren't superb at. All right.
I'm making you feel better.
So in the shadows of the what you're in here is a parking lot. Then there's kind of a bridge spanning kind of a brook that feeds into the ocean water, and then there's the building itself. Out in the parking lot, there is an armed guard who was walking towards the gate to make sure that their mysterious visitor had left.
Cool. In that case, I will attempt. So, how high is the bridge over the water?
I'm gonna say it's at least a 30-foot drop.
Okay, I'm going to hide under the bridge, if that makes sense. Like, gripping onto the underside.
So you move from shadow to shadow in the parking lot, and then the guard sees nothing and starts walking back across the bridge, and you pan down to you kind of hanging from the underside.
Yes.
Let's see. What do you think would be a good role for making sure you can hang from the bottom of a bridge? As the camera looks up at you.
I would say either training maybe, or acting, not sure. Probably training. Or maybe location.
Yeah, location, so that there's some hidden handholds or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll me location.
Time to roll another 1. Woo!
Oh wow, it's you absolutely look like you are hanging just through your own spider,
Creepy spider powers.
Yeah, creepy spider powers. No, you're basically a Spider Woman.
Tails, yeah.
Throw that into the Spider-Verse.
Sure, Sonny would love it.
So the guard is passing over the bridge as you're hanging under it flawlessly.
Yeah. I want to, if possible, Arachne will, listening. I'm assuming I can hear his footsteps as he walks.
Yes.
Yep. So she'll follow him under the bridge until he gets to the gate, and then once she hears the gate opening, it's going to be a quick flip over to while she's following him, she'll spool web, so you can sort of just jump up and just wrap him.
Okay, so she's crawling under the bridge. He gets to the gate separating the bridge from the rest of the estate. She swings up carrying some spooled up web.
Yes.
And then uses that to web him up.
Yes.
All right. At least part of this is going to need to be a physical component because you need some kind of web material to wrap the guard up in. So I'm going to say,
that makes sense.
Roll me whichever is better, engineering or props. Or no, not engineering. Actually, no, that's for like machinery and electronics. But yeah, roll me props.
Okay, well, it was a total of +0 or +0, so
fair enough.
Really, either or.
You meant you're still stocked up on the substance that your webs are made of, and it looks very convincing as you just wrap him up and cover his mouth and just leave him. Where do you leave him? Where do you leave the body?
I'm going to sort of pose him against the side of the wall with the gate.
Okay.
So so even though he's wrapped up, it sort of looks like he's sort of lounging against the wall, if that makes sense.
Kind of like laid back a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like vertically along the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like it. So even though his eyes are like wide and terrified, he's kind of like, resting on his elbows and, one leg kicked up.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
So they're gonna look at him and be like, not my best posing work, but you'll do for a good practice for the night, I think.
He tries to, scream something out, but his voice doesn't make it far past the thick webbing around his mouth. And his eyes wide and staring at you in fear. Because you look pretty freaky.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to pat him on the cheek and just be like, now, dear. You'll make a perfect piece one day, I'm sure. And then I'll just saunter in.
Oh, sorry, that was really good.
Thank you.
That was a really nice line. So, yeah. Now you are amidst the compound proper. There are, lots of decorated trees and stone paths leading down towards the beach. And, this building is just layered and layered with, many balconies, many Art Deco walls and whatnot. And guards patrolling various angles, and the rooms inside have very large windows that you can see the nice wooden paneling and whatnot inside, the bright lights.
If I was an egotistical madman, would I be up or down? Up, I believe.
That seems likely.
So can I sort of, from where I am, how far up can I get if I just go literally up the nearest wall?
The nearest wall is the wall of the gate, which gets you up 1 story. And there's about, staggered, there's about, 4.
And there's balconies on each, yeah?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
It's basically a staggered pyramid, but part of one, not all the way around.
Cool. Yeah. So she will just start walking up the nearest wall, jumping onto the first balcony, spinning out some web, lassoing the next, up, up, up.
Roll me either location or stunt work or script to see how well you avoid the guards.
Location, please.
Okay.
Because it's my only not +0.
So this is how the lighting works in your favor. Oh, just fine. Yeah, it's nighttime, and even though there are fairly big floodlights, you manage to find the few shadows there are, especially with your ability to not necessarily stay on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And you're able to avoid confrontation when need be as you make your way up to the balcony of the second floor. And, stealthily take out whoever's in your way along the way.
Nice. Alright. So I'm just going to look for the fanciest door to enter, essentially, on the highest floor.
It's just this, wooden door, leading into what seems to be kind of, like a hot tub room. And the door has, like, these angled wooden slats.
I see. Okay. I'm gonna climb the wall next to the door so I can sort of like go up and hang over it so I'm looking down at the balcony, and I'm gonna try and open the slat door.
All right. Yeah, I imagine that when you're hanging above the door, because there's a bit of an overhang from the balcony above, and you reach down with either a long slender arm or one of your extra spider legs.
One of the extra legs. Definitely a leg.
And turn the door knob, which unfortunately is locked.
Well, it'd be rude for me not to knock, and so I will.
And so you knock. And you hear from inside, what? Hello?
Oh, darling, open the door, wouldn't you? It's been such a long trip.
The beam of flashlight, probably rifle mounted, beams through the slats in the door. Who's there? And the beam gets closer and closer to the door. There's a moment's pause, and then the door is kicked open, and this guard steps out, pointing his rifle left then right.
Bam! Right on top of him.
Right on top of him. I'm not going to even make you roll for that, because that was great. And then what?
I was gonna say, and then I think I'm going to. Yes. How could I not? Okay. So I'm going to web him in such a way that one of his hands is on sort of one rail of the balcony, one of his legs is on the other, so it looks like he's in one of those like ballerina poses.
You mean like with him leaning down, kind of nearly touching his toes?
Yeah.
Precariously balanced on the railing.
Yep.
Oof. Man, I'm trying to imagine that, and I don't think he would stay upright very long. Eventually he'll flop over one side or the other.
Oh, what a shame.
Fair enough. You walk away, and he's like, "No, don't leave." And then he kind of topples over.
Always told I need to do a better job on my bases.
And then you feel a vibration through your feet and a loud booming sound.
Oh, that's
From somewhere
not...
outside the compound.
Is there a window nearby?
You're still standing on the balcony, looking out over the complex.
Then yeah, I'll look around, see what I can see.
You see back towards the outermost gate that you can see from here. You see this what looks like, and you can hardly believe your eyes, looks like some kind of big cat-shaped robot come flying through the gate, crashing on its side.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
And then, chasing after it, Avis,
Yes.
what kind of mech is Nathaniel Chromice piloting?
A bear. A large bear. And it is just barreling towards the cat.
Which, on second look, seems to be more like a kind of like a leopard, or...
Yeah.
Each of these mechs is like larger than a semi-truck or something like that. Like, what's the scale on this? Or like, how big do you envision these mechs? Because I actually never asked you. Like person-sized, or...
I think originally, because everything was to scale with a mouse, they were probably to scale, but maybe make a leopard the size of a car and the bear a bit bigger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. So that just crashes through the gate, clearly visible under the flood lighting from the vantage point that Arachne has. And all the guards, there's a klaxon firing off as all the guards are alerted by this. You can almost see the exclamation marks go up all over every guard's head in the complex. And the closest ones nearby panic and start shooting with their assault weapons. Bullets bouncing off the metal exterior armored plates of the drones.
Yay.
And I'm going to say there is an aspect to the scene itself in this location, and that aspect is, holy crap, two giant mechs are fighting. Which you are free to invoke in any way you wish.
Oh, yay.
Aren't you glad I'm here with you?
I love it so much.
So,
when the game tells me stealth is optional.
Stealth is now 100% optional for you.
The Sentai is strong with this one, kinda. So, Xencarn, it's your turn.
Right. So Arachne's just gonna sort of stand and just stare at the whole scene for a minute.
Okay.
Before just being like, ricochet. And then she's going to try and like sort of pounce down on the nearest firing guard.
Alright. So I'm gonna say, probably either stunt work or choreography on that.
Oh. Cool. So, +0, +0.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a lot of zeros.
You're not really suited to a lot of like high octane action scenes.
I'm not. I'm really not.
And you're
What a
in
surprise.
the scene with someone who is.
I appreciate that so much, really.
All right. Is that your one there?
Yeah, that's my one.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say you managed to take out one guard.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
And the
yeah.
others are thankfully too distracted to realize that someone's just pounced on one of their others.
Cool. That'll be it for me for the moment, then, I guess.
Also, we just got raided. So there's that.
Woo!
This is Spudventures. This is a new tabletop real play podcast I'm doing. And oh look, there they all go. Anyway. Getting back to the matter at hand. Avis, it's your turn. You've already traded a few blows with this thing already. Your bear mech is not in the best shape, but this particular leopard has been quite a nuisance this night to try and pacify so that you can bring it back to the new research lab.
Because DeSanto is kind of crushed.
Yeah.
And on fire.
A little bit.
Tiny bit.
So what do you do?
Well, assuming that now getting fired at, but this is like government grade metallic drone, so
Yeah.
like nothing.
Basically nothing.
Priority is to basically we're just grapple this stupid leopard to the ground.
All right, so trying to get a pin on him.
Yeah.
Roll me some CGI.
What was that number? That's a 4.
Three. You're one short, and that's gonna be probably either physical or funding stress, budget stress, to make up the difference.
It's probably, to be honest, it's probably damage to the suit.
Yeah, so take a point of physical stress then.
Okay.
All right. So you managed to try and pin it down, but between the gunfire and this cat leopard mech, like digging its chrome claws into you, the suit you're in kind of takes some damage.
I also imagine it's pretty fast in comparison to the big hulking bear.
Yeah, there is that, but like you just managed to kind of like get on top of it,
Right.
at least for a moment. And the guards, I'm gonna go ahead and make a roll for fun, because they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing to anyone at this point. They are panicked. Their weapons aren't effective against the people they're aiming at. Arachne.
Okay, so they're visibly panicked.
Yes.
Sweet. How many are there?
Gonna pick a number off the top of my head between people in the parking lot and the people out in the courtyard and the people coming out from the building.
6.
16.
How many are in with us?
In with you, as in outside, on sort of the front deck.
Yeah.
I'm going to say there is 9 on the ground and 7 spread across the various balconies up top.
Okay. Ooh, sweet. I know it's a night scene. Is there any decent lighting anywhere?
Yeah, there are lights coming from the building, and there are a couple of floodlights out in both the parking lot and on the first floor deck. The courtyard.
Right.
Courtyard, rather. Courtyard is the word I've been looking for this entire time.
Alright, I'm gonna go to the nearest brightly lit area. Making myself, so I'm very easy to notice. I'm gonna look at the guards that I can see and just be like, "Run, you fools, if you wish to live."
If you want to make the most of that, you could spend a fate point and invoke vengeful reincarnation.
Ooh, yes, I wish to do that.
All right, I will take the fate point then. One of your fate points, 3, I believe.
Yep.
And I will say that you get a pretty significant bonus to your acting.
Nice. So what am I rolling?
You're rolling acting plus 2 extra.
Alright, so acting plus 5, neat. 5.
A lot of these fudge dice just averaging out here.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It's almost like someone stole our good rolls. Gee, I wonder.
Someone was a fortune in luck aspect?
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that's how dice with zeros and even numbers work.
Lies and slander.
All right, so you ended up rolling a 5 at the end of the day, which is still superb. So the nearest guards near you let out screams of terror, which doesn't help the moods of any of the other guards nearby, who also just start basically spinning in circles trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Reasonable.
Yeah, just about. Avis, your turn.
So it's on the ground, yeah, with claws.
It is on the ground underneath you with its claws in you.
Okay. So gonna try and this is horrible. Basically try to incapacitate the mech with limbs first.
Trying to like just maul its limbs off.
Yeah,
it's a robot. It doesn't have to be gruesome.
It's a bear. I'm gonna maul things.
All right. I'm gonna say to kind of find the right leverage to tear off this very solidly built mechanical leg. I'm gonna say roll me engineering. Or rather, to construct part of it that it looks convincing when you do it, and there's all 4. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you
Picking up all my high skills, man.
you tear off one of the leopard limbs that's digging into you and just toss it aside. At this display, some of the guards just stop shooting. They're just like, we've done nothing to this, and it's tearing that other one apart. What do we do?
Can I just say, like, to drive that point of fear home, the mech lets out, like, this loud bear roar at that time.
Yeah, that's free. You can do that. Leopard...
Because a good roar is great.
Played out of a large speaker. Triggered by this tiny mouse in its cranium.
You see nothing.
You see
Just
this
bear.
little mouse paw, land on a tiny screen that says "play bear sound." .wave.
Bearroar.mp3.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Actually, I'm going to say that that roar of terror is an advantage over the guards as well, that it can be invoked once for free. And the leopard mech, meanwhile, is going to eject its driver. The back kind of along the neck opens up, and you see this actual leopard climb out of it and leap towards the head of your mech.
No, please. Go away, cat.
And that's happening. So, Arachne.
Yep. Cool. So just to clarify, one of the mechs has been wrecked, and a actual leopard jumped out of the top of it,
Yes.
and is now attacking their mech.
Yes.
I'm going to just make the assumption the guards are literally doing nothing right now apart from freaking out.
The vast majority of them are just like jaws dropped, guns lowered, and slack in their hands. And they're just like, what the hell is going on? Some of them are like, one of them's just like, nope, not paid enough for this, and just throws his gun down and walks away.
I agree with that guy. That guy's doing the right thing. Oh god. Alright. So out of my depth right now. I'm an infiltrator. This is not what I do.
I mean, you've got a pretty big distraction.
Yeah. Alright. Fair enough. I'm gonna go right back up the wall and through the hopefully still open door to go find the guy with
it's all the doors.
Not my problem.
All the doors are open right now. All the doors are open right now.
This seems like completely somebody else's wheelhouse, and they can go take that. I'm gonna go finish one.
I will say, just to note, Nathaniel, you did your scanners have detected like all the guards, and you also like got a brief lock on, like camera lock on Vanessa as well, as she climbs back up and enters the building.
Kind of busy right now, but gonna pay attention to that.
Yeah, just planting that detail there.
Yep.
So Arachne goes back inside the building and basically has free run of the place. Avis, what's your next move now that a leopard is clawing against your optical sensors?
Pummel the leopard into the ground.
Oof. Roll me CGI, because there's no way they're gonna actually let you do that for real.
No. There's probably like so many people backstage making sure that none of the animals are getting hurt.
Yeah. Alright. There is a shot of the bear, was that first roll not, Oh.
The 4 was not it. The 1 was it.
Oh, you rolled a 1?
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
No, this is my life. You're just visiting.
It's not that tough to model the leopard, but it is kind of below your standards. I'm going to say you're off by 1.
Maybe to like a super critical eye, it looks like, oh wait, did they slip in? Is that the part where they slipped in the dummy leopard, and that's not the actual animal?
Well,
on
if you
screen?
let it fail, you're not going to get what you want here.
Oh.
Gotta reduce the drift by 1 to get to a tie. And you use stress or consequences for that. So your first slot budget stress would be good for this.
Yeah.
All right. So the CGI leopard looks a little obviously not the same leopard, but it's a quick shot of the bear lifting up and then somehow carefully slamming it into the ground, just sort of trapping it with its claws. And then, the next shot is of the leopard kind of struggling against the claw prop that it's trapped by. And it just kind of hisses and curses you in plain English.
There's no need for such language, friend. Just go to sleep. It'll be better in the morning.
The guards lift up their rifles and start to advance towards you, not firing, but like gathering in kind of a squad and crossing the bridge towards you.
That's
Vanessa,
fun.
You are inside with free reign of the place.
Sweet. I am going to head to the biggest and fanciest looking office / room I can find.
You find a room that is still guarded by at least one guard, and it looks padlocked.
Yeah, I'm just going to walk as I'm assuming it's like in a hallway or corridor or something. As I walk down, I'm just going to call out, if you'd like some advice, it would be to run and drop the key while you're at it.
His response is to go, "Who's there?" and lift his rifle. Looking but not quite seeing you yet.
In that case, I will very purposefully and slowly, like one spider leg at a time, crawl into his vision with like big smile and just be like, drop key, run.
Ooh. You kind of throw in like kind of an inhuman edge to your voice or something like that?
Yes.
No, I don't even need to compel there. Probably an acting roll. No bonus, just regular.
Yep.
That's a fair result. Yeah, he doesn't run, but his rifle shakes in his grip, and he kind of forgets to pull the trigger on you. And you just keep advancing towards him until your shadow descends upon him and cut back to the parking lot, where the leopard finally calms down. Maybe do you have like a tranquilizer in your mech suit or something?
Yeah, there's probably like something
Probably.
in a claw. Just like opens up and just a small needle.
Alright, so the leopard eventually stops clawing and writhing and falls asleep. And you notice on your sensors this squad of armed goons coming up behind you. Which is a bit more dangerous because you don't really want to have one of these animals catch a stray bullet either.
So he's going to position the bear over the leopard.
All right, so you kind of get up, turn around, and kind of hunch your body over the leopard.
And then in a robotic sounding voice, it's going to like broadcast like, gentlemen, I believe we all know exactly where this is going to end. So
they give each other confused looks as this really composed voice comes out of this bear.
Come now, this can't be the strangest thing you've seen tonight. Put the toys down, gentlemen.
They're just like, well, what do we do? Just like, I guess, and they start to lower their rifles.
On the ground. Hands behind your heads.
They're just like, but what?
No!
Clatter, 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 clatter. And then you hear police sirens.
Hooray!
Vanessa, the guard is incapacitated and you have the key.
Sweet. I'm going to use key on door.
And you open the door, and inside is a closed-off office. And inside is a man hunched over a desk and just going through what seems to be reams and reams of old parchment.
I'm gonna like sort of softly close the door and just say, "I'm sorry, sir. Did you know you had a leopard in your courtyard?"
He stops what he's doing and doesn't turn his face towards you, just kind of tilts his head towards his shoulder and speaks back to you saying, "It's not my courtyard. It's not as though I wish to be here, but... Well, who are you then?"
That is an interesting question, is it not? I'm known to most of you as Arachne.
They mentioned something like that.
I figured they might. May I take a seat?
Was your husband a historian?
He was indeed. In fact, he's one of the pressing reasons I'm here talking to you tonight. I'm sure you can make time in your busy schedule for me. Yes?
As you're approaching him, you realize that the papers on his desk belonged to your husband at one point.
Oh.
And they seem to be, the majority of them that are under current scrutiny, seem to be regarding the ancient Greek calendar system.
Yeah, so I'm gonna approach him and be like, and, what exactly are you doing with my husband's work?
He, slowly turns around. And even though you don't recognize him, the audience who has seen the previous movies will recognize him as Sir Mordred. He says, "To be honest, I wish you could tell me.
Wow.
Down in the courtyard, the police and SWAT have responded to the scene, and have confiscated the weaponry of all the guards out in the courtyard. Thankfully, this mech operation was already known to local authorities, so Nathaniel is allowed to remain out of custody. And an FBI vehicle pulls into the parking lot as well. And out step Agent Cook, Agent Ramirez, and Gawain and Hoyle.
Bum, bum, bum.
This is where the goons had told you was one of the hideouts for a group known as the Order of Olympus.
Okay.
But as you arrive on the scene, it's been wrecked by a couple of mechs, one of which is completely broken. There's evidence of gunfire just spraying in all directions. And in the building across the way, all its lights are on and the doors are open. And there's also this big bear-shaped mech that's just kind of looking around, standing tall above everybody.
This is a lot to take in for a man from the Dark Ages.
This is the moment I waited for, the moment I knew you were in the game. Just this moment.
Deck looks at Gawain, looks at the Mac, is just, you want to talk to him, or shall I talk to him?
I believe you should go first. I need to... things.
And Deck just calmly whips up some cards to use as stepping stones, steps up to the cockpit, lightly knocks against it, and hang in there!
Okay.
So the head opens up, like different pieces of machinery come apart to reveal the small cockpit right in the brain cavity. And it is a small brown and white mouse with a green necktie. Do remember that there is quite the echo when you knock, so perhaps not do that again.
My apologies. I wasn't sure what the protocol was. Might I ask what's going on here? We were going to investigate, but looks like...
Is Hoyle just completely unfazed by this?
Deck's trying to not act spooked or anything like that. He's trying to keep his cool.
Roll acting to convey this restrained surprise.
Zero.
No, you just like you just no sell it, and you're just like, oh well, hello there. And meanwhile, like the FBI agents who can finally spot where you're looking at, just like, what is that a mouse? What? What's going on? Why weren't we told about this?
Somewhat quietly, you can hear Gawain go, I miss fighting giants.
It's so simple then.
Right. Anyway, so it looks like you've done your investigation in force. What's going on here?
Just dealing with a little cleanup from something personal, but I don't believe I'm done. The mouse turns towards the house. I did see another individual on my sensors still in the building, and it might be beneficial to see them before they get away.
You're a little big for that. We can go in. Where exactly did you see them? We'll go in there.
I am perfectly capable of assisting as well. Please do not demean me.
As you wish, but lead on then. And then go, and that leads back to the others. Hey, target. Mech's going to lead us to a target.
The mech's not going anywhere. The mouse is just sliding down the bear at that whole time, just running.
Deck looks at this. Check that. Mouse is leading us to a target. And then just follows along.
Gawain has sword drawn and is like holding it against the bear mech and just sidestepping it, like waiting for it to move again.
Just like as you walk by, you just keep your sword pointed at it, just sidestepping until you finally get an angle to.
Even at one point, going like just yelling, "Is it safe to leave the bear here?"
Yes, the bear.
It is fine. It's on sleep mode. It won't do anything, honey. Let's go.
What the mouse said. Come on.
What? You hear one of the FBI agents mutter, "What the mouse said." Ramirez turns to Cook and says, You keep an eye on them. I'll handle the police response here. And Miriam Cook follows along with Gawain.
You know, of course, this is going to be one of the A&V moments. What does the mouse say?
No. Please, no. That meme is so old.
I'm taking orders from the mouse. This is the weirdest day of my life. I feel like for some of this group, it's not, though. It's like, it ranks up there, but I don't think it's the weirdest day of everyone's life here.
The weird part is that Deck is just rolling with this. What's going on here?
What happened in his life?
Yeah.
Why is there this instant rapport?
Can we ask him later?
Wait, no, it makes sense. He's a poker player.
Yeah.
There we go. Poker face.
Yep.
Poker face.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
Cut back to the study, the locked study.
Dark and brooding time.
Yes. Yeah, that'll just get written off as fridge brilliance on the TV tropes page. Good.
Yeah. So yeah, I've probably started to, I don't know who this guy is exactly. So I'll be doing my whole looming menacingly thing.
And he doesn't look particularly phased.
So, tell me, my good sir, why exactly did you need to kill my husband for his paperwork?
I did no such thing.
You were involved.
I have only just been involved with these ruffians, these bandits, for the last week or so.
Oh.
You can tell that he's got some bruising on his face and neck and some of his chest that is visible through the robe.
My sympathies are beyond zero. So what? They just conscripted you into a little organization and you just happen to have important documents that they just trusted you with after a week?
Apparently, they determined it takes a certain mind to both decipher ancient texts and make sense of the arcane implications.
Oh, he was a historian. He wasn't interested in the arcane.
No, but when the arcane is part of our history, the two tend to rub up against each other.
Gonna take a small step back, and just be like, okay. So explain to me exactly what your purpose is here and who you're working for. I want names, locations, dates, anything you can get me, or you're going out the window.
Wouldn't be the first time I've heard that.
Sure, it'll be the first time a giant spider did it to you.
I'll get back to you on that. All I know is they call themselves the Order of Olympus.
Mm.
And I know that they're embarking on some grand plan that requires a certain timing and a certain ritual of some kind.
Cultists. Great.
At this point, there are footsteps from outside the room.
Okay. This guy can't tell me. Arachne's sort of gonna just stare at the ceiling for a second and just be like, this guy knows nothing. This was a dead end, but I have a name. If I've got a name, the fly can tell me more. I can't get caught now. I don't have the... No. And she's just gonna go out the window. She is going to flee.
That I did not expect.
Because she doesn't know who's coming up the door. She's in a giant spider form. It could be men with guns. And she has what she wants, and this guy evidently isn't going
She's
to...
not going to stick around in case she can overhear something?
Fair. Alright. Still out the window, but she's going to do the same thing she did with the door. So she'll wall up, if that makes sense. So she'll go out the window and sit atop it. Or just below it, either one.
Gotcha. So, the rest of the crew, Gawain, Deck, and Nathaniel, and Agent Miriam Cook, walked through the door. And they see Mordred, Sir Mordred, looking beat up in a robe and with some kind of ankle bracelet. And they see an open window.
Gawain is going to, drop sword and immediately go to his brother.
Oh. Is that you, Gawain?
Mordred, what are you doing here?
Goodness, if I had the answer to that.
And he, so he's got some sort of, ankle bracelet, but it doesn't look like maybe something he put on?
No.
Okay. Gawain's going to go back to his sword and switch to half swording, so he's holding the blade and he's got the pommel sort of facing up, and he goes, "Hold still, let me see if I can break this off." And
Cook kind of grabs your arm and is like, hold on a second. And she just kind of kneels down and tinkers with the device for a bit, and eventually manages to get it off. Oh goodness, this is a shock bracelet. It must have been wired to. And Mordred goes, "Yeah, try and strike me down if I try to leave this area."
Gawain's going to offer a hand to help Mordred stand back up.
Is this a friend of yours?
Gawain's going to smile and go, "This is my brother, Mordred. He joined me in my travels to this time."
Such crude machinery for someone's brother.
I apologize? Gawain's not exactly not sure how to take that comment.
He's more like, with Agent Ramirez, was it? Like inspecting whatever it was.
Oh, Agent Cook took it off.
Cook, sorry. So many agents!
There's 2.
2. There's more than one!
True. So, Hook just looks around the room and says, alright, let's... Kind of glares at Mordred, but doesn't say much directly to him. Says, let's pack all this up, regroup, and go over our notes, I guess.
So, questions, but...
Yeah.
So the only reason I knew that there were bodies still in the house was that the sensors picked it up. Would the sensors have noticed if they were large? Or just the fact that they existed?
You got like a picture and a shape of them.
So I know that this isn't what I picked up.
Yeah, Mordred is not who you detected.
There was something else here. I do not see it. Scampering around.
Well, there's an obvious exit, and Deck looks out the window.
Up or down?
Each direction. Down first, then up.
Okay, so if you look down, you see nothing. If you look up, you see a giant spider woman staring down at you, and she just carefully puts a finger to her lips and gestures for you to go back inside.
Gull pauses, and then out from behind him flies a card up to the spider woman's hand before he ducks inside. The card has a pre-written note, "Let's talk," and a phone number.
See anything?
Yeah, she'll take it, I guess.
Gawain's basically at this
Nothing worth
point.
mentioning for now.
Gawain at this point is just basically checking Mordred over, making sure he's like okay, even despite the bruising and whatnot.
Mouse head tilt.
And yes, Deck does carry around pre-written cards with "Let's talk" and phone number for just this kind of situation. It's come up more often than you think.
So this is the movie where Hoyle just gets memed into having the most legendary poker face of all time.
Basically.
All right then. So, yeah. The police and the FBI take all of this into custody. The FBI grabs all the notes that Mordred was studying over, and they take Mordred and them and you guys back to a safe house in this Southern Californian town that's coast side that we're theoretically in. And Dr. Chromice makes a quick stop to deliver both the leopard and the cat mech to what remains of the DeSantos research team.
Yes.
And
drop off the bear, which is probably really damaged.
Yeah. Do you switch to a different mech?
Yeah, like a panther. Something nice and sleek, like a sports car.
A Jaguar? You switch to a Jaguar?
Yes!
Chrome Jaguar mech. All right.
Well, I mean, a Ram's not that sexy.
No, not really. As everyone's sort of parting ways, what does Arachne do?
She's going to go up to the roof, look at this card, just chuckle, and then down the back and out.
Okay.
Like far away from as far away from the police as she can get.
Yeah. All right. Then I guess cut to the FBI safe house, where Mordred is finally getting a change of clothes and rubbing his, washing up his wounds and whatnot. And he looks to everyone present and says, "All right, ask me whatever you wish to know, since I owe you my life, in a certain sense. My freedom, certainly. Although, who knows how long that will remain," he says, looking pointedly at the FBI agents.
It was probably most beneficial to start from the beginning, since some of us are probably not aware as to what is going on right now.
Well, I'd say we have pieces of the puzzle here. Gawain, what do you make of all this?
State those passes.
Gawain's not the... he's not stupid, but he's not like the brightest knight. He tended to let thinking be something that other knights did. He was more muscle, but he still had to know things, just as code of chivalry and whatnot. So I think he's piecing this together as between the Order of Olympus and the things he saw at the airfield. I think he's putting together that. Or I'll say this in character. I believe that this rogue gang, whatever they may be, believe they can revive Zeus or act in his behalf, or some kind pagan nonsense.
That was about my read as well. It seems as though, well, think of all the manner of beasts and magics we fought against under King Arthur. We don't see those things in these modern times.
Gawain nods, though there are apparently still magicians, he says, looking over to Deck.
Deck just shrugs.
And Mordred says, "Yes, but even that is through an artifact of an older time, when such myths were more common and more real. There's nothing left but those artifacts, those bones of what once were. There really are no gods in these times. And I suppose that there's a certain kind of person, maybe even many of a certain kind of person, that wishes more certain that there were." And these have fixated on one in particular, or one pantheon in particular. And so they're gathering up as many artifacts as they can.
A popular pantheon, though it is not the only one.
Honestly, at Mordred saying that there are no gods in these times, he honestly looks a little upset at that comment, because that kind of goes against everything that Gawain has ever worked for.
Yeah.
And subsequently what he thought that Mordred also went for. But he's sort of holding his tongue about that for now, and simply says, "And what artifact were they guarding there?"
Sorry, I just read the comment. Nobody cares about your mouse gods, Chromice.
I don't need gods. I have science.
Science is my god.
God.
Thank you, chat.
Oh, That's too good.
I care about this mouse science, gods.
So Mordred said, sorry, repeat the question?
And were there any artifacts that were being guarded at your location?
If there were, I was not allowed to see them. And Agent Ramirez says, we didn't find any others at that location, though we did find a room that had been, showed sign that it had been emptied recently.
Most interesting.
Mordred goes back over to where the notes he was looking over have been recollected on top of a dining room table. And he says, the ancient Greeks had, well, many calendars, but sort of their epoch that they all referenced was the Olympiad, which was the marker of the 4-year period for the ancient Greek Olympic Games, which
Gawain.
just so
Gawain
happens,
nods familiar.
which just so happens, according to what I've cross-referenced here, and unfortunately this information I did relay to them, their leadership. That is in 2 days. The Olympiad is in 2 days. And they're planning something then. Something
Do you
involving...
happen to know where?
Would you be surprised to learn that Mount Olympus is a real place?
No.
Gawain
There
shakes
is
his head.
there is a mountain in Greece that was stated to be Mount Olympus. Or at least what the ancient Greeks thought was Mount Olympus.
It wasn't until I came to this age of interconnected information that I did not realize that the Greek people actually did have a mountain that they called Olympus. I thought the whole story was fabrication.
All stories have a little seed of truth within them. You just have to know when to look. And sometimes the seed is very small.
So, yes, I would say that is the date and time of this effort. That they are doing something on the day of the Olympiad at or near or perhaps even atop Mount Olympus.
Gawain just nods, picks up his sword and goes, then our objective is clear, is it not?
Agent Ramirez sort of scratches the back of his head and says, oh boy, we have to arrange a flight to Greece immediately and get clearance with, we don't even have jurisdiction to operate there. I don't know if there's a way to do this within 2 days that's by the book.
No worries. There's a way.
Everyone looks to the mouse.
And if not, I'll help you get one.
Gawain sort of takes a look at Ramirez and goes, I am not on your books, correct? Then should there be no problem in mine going?
Agent Cook says, well, I've had to file a report on the incident that we experienced.
I see.
Like, you're, to a certain extent, you're like, Mr. Cards here is a known quantity to the FBI, and, you know, the incident is on record. Sir Gawain, your whole adventure is, I had to file a report on that, or else I would, you know, lose my badge. And I've been in contact with the head researcher, so I'm finally up to speed. But even you're, you know, kind of a government agent.
I'm government property. Let's not skirt the issue.
The agents look rather awkward at that.
Gawain at this point looks to Agent Cook and goes, You neglect to tell me of the mages in this government of yours. Creating talking animals? And Gawain just sort of like shakes it, like puts his head in his hands, just like, I don't know what. People keep telling me magic isn't real, but how do they explain this?
Mordred chuckles and says, technology, magic, what is the difference these days?
I do not know, and they will not explain it to me.
We can at least start on the way over to Greece. No worries. If not, I'll probably have your head explode with information.
Gawain looks 100% like he believes that is a thing that can happen.
Will everybody roll me a script check?
Wow.
-3.
-3.
Hey!
It all balances out.
Completely balanced.
Exactly balanced.
-3,300.
that?
Good. Okay.
Whoa, wait. We were meant to rehearse for this?
Deck. Would Deck know somebody who might be able to get them to Greece under the radar on very short notice?
Yes. In fact, that would be Deck.
What?
So Deck has a bankroll from doing casinos, and from his vacations, he's gotten a little familiar with the airline industry. So yeah, charter a private jet. It's a bit of a strain for him. It's not something he does every day, but yeah.
Everyone just kind of stares at you, and then Ramirez goes, wait, I thought you reported all of your stolen income from your card counting.
I reported a stolen income. My tax returns cover my legit income. You didn't look at my tax returns?
You can charter how soon can you charter this jet? And scene. All right. And I think that's going to be where we have our first intermission.
All right.
All right.
Gotta maybe figure out how to get Arachne on the plane, but yeah.
Xencarn and I were PMing about that. That's why I put the card number in the other chat. Here, let me put it in the in the Twitch chat too. Or I can't.
I have a plan. It's all good. I just didn't realize that we were going like 2 days from now.
You're just
I would
going
have
to
played
attach
this
yourself to the
very
bottom of the
different-
plane. It's fine. No worries.
All right, so yeah, you can communicate and coordinate that. So that there's a way through there. Okay, good.
Yeah. Probably we should play this out at the start of next session.
That's what I was
we
thinking.
can do this.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
So yeah, that's going to be session 1 of the cinematic universe, our first Spudventure. That was a lot of fun.
First act.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Act 1 of 3.
I
And
thought it was going to be 4 sessions.
No, 3.
That was 3.
I was fairly. I think I was like waffling on 3 or 4, depending on if like we go off the rails and it goes long. But I was planning on 3.
Okay, 3 it is.
I mean, 3-act structure. It works.
Yeah, I mean,
3 until 1 becomes part 1 and then part 2.
or
well, that's just two separate 3-act structures.
and unless we're like Japanese sci-fi, and then there's this huge swerve into this weird 4th act where like everyone's backstabbing each other.
It was aliens all along.
And I'd buy that Gawain would totally betray everyone.
Hey, 5-act trilogy worked for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so...
That's true.
Anyway, that's enough movie jokes. That is going to be the end of the first Spudventure. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, wherever you managed to consume this content. It'll be up on YouTube at youtube.com/Newbiespud. It'll be in podcast form at spudventures.libsyn.com. And it will, whenever we do a session, it'll be streamed live at twitch.tv/Newbiespud. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Newbiespud, same as it ever was, for announcements regarding that. And if you like what you heard and want to support it, you can donate to my Patreon. My goodness, that's a lot of plugs.
They build up so quickly.
They really do. All this social media things. I'm not suited to it.
That's why I don't do any of it, which is a problem because I'm an actor.
Oops. And
Oops.
I'm technically a freelance author.
Just get a MySpace. That's still popular, right?
I was
Indeed.
thinking Bebo.
Where the real social media is done.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't really have a plan to end this other than to say thank you for listening and see you next time. Oh,
See you next time.
next week, are we doing your thing, GreatDinn?
As of right now, everything is on track. I've got all the stats in the pool. I've got the character ideas.
So next week's Spudventure will not be the Cinematic Universe Session 2. It will be a different Spudventure that will run alternating concurrently, which is, I believe, what is it called?
It's D&D 5e. It's the Dungeon of the Mad Mage module, and I'm calling it The Forgotten Ones.
I'm so excited.
Ooh, yes. And I'm in that one as a player, not a GM, so I'm really
Me
excited.
So excited. It's going to be great.
I'm super happy about it.
All right.
Can't wait to get started.
Anyway, thank you for listening, and see you all next time.